Good morning, guys. So, I am going to make a dessert. I've never made it before. I'm kind of just hoping it turns out. And this dessert is being made around this. This is the fruit that I had in the fridge that was going bad that I turned into a kind of like a pie filling or fruit compote or whatever. I don't know. Check out the video. You'll see how I made this. And I have it in the fridge. I made it 2 days ago. And I've been thinking, what can I do with this? And so I looked around and I remembered that I have this bag of cereal in my freezer. Why? Because my husband bought this cereal that was on clearance. It was $1 and change, but it turned out it was unsweetened cereal and he didn't like it. And he bought like 8 boxes of it. So I saved it because I saw this in the freezer and I have that in the fridge, which is what I was trying to figure out what to do with it. I'm going to make a pie, a fruit topped pie. And I didn't want to make a cheesecake because I don't know. I just don't feel like eating a cheesecake right now. And so I asked my husband on his way home from work, because I was already home, to pick up a box of Cook and Serve Jell-O. I wanted the cheesecake flavored one, but they didn't have it. So he got vanilla. So I'm going to make a pie crust with the cereal, and I'll show you how I do that. Then I'm going to make this, and I think you pour it in the pie crust, and then you chill it for 3 hours or something. I don't know. I got to do this little by little. I've never made this before. And then once that's all done and set, then I can put the fruit on top, and we'll have a yummy dessert. So I don't know, work with me here. You'll see how I do this. But let me get the pie crust going first because I need to bake that for 10 minutes or else it'll turn to mush when I pour the Jell-O in it. So, and you know what, guys? Making a pie crust from cereal, it doesn't even have to be something you're doing because you bought a cereal you don't like. What if you want to make a pie and you don't have pie crust and you don't feel like going to the store? Well, there you go. Boom. Use cereal if you have it. So, I have cups of cereal. So let me chop this up. And you want to make sure the cereal is really well ground up. This is a very coarse cereal, so it's going to take a little longer to grind than if you were to use Chex or Cheerios or something. But make sure it's really ground because essentially what you're doing is making a graham cracker crust, but you're using cereal. So grind it up really fine, just like a graham cracker crust would be. The ultimate goal is to have 1.5 cups of ground up cereal. So if you're using an airy cereal like Rice Krispies or Cheerios or Corn Flakes or Chex, you're going to use about 6 cups of cereal. But because this is oats and granola and it's a very dense cereal, I only need about 2 cups of cereal to get my 1.5 ground cereal. So just look at the cereal that you have, but the end result is you want to have 1.5 cups of ground up cereal to make your pie crust. And you could do something fun for the kids and use like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Captain Crunch to make the crust. That would be super yummy. Okay, guys, so let's get this together. So you need 1.5 cups of ground up cereal. So this has already been ground up, and I used a granola unsweetened cereal. So now you're going to take that, and you're going to take one stick of melted butter, or 8 tablespoons, which is one long stick of butter. And you're going to pour that in there. And I'm going to get me a spatula because I'm not going to let any of that butter go to waste. Once I get all this butter scraped, I'm going to put some sugar in here. But you're going to skip this if the cereal that you're using is already sweetened, and which almost all cereals are, then you're going to skip this step. But because the cereal that I'm using has 0 sugar, it has nothing in it, I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm actually using less because I'm going to cut it back a little bit. But you would put a 1/4 cup of sugar, and you're going to mix that all together. And I'm actually also going to do a splash of cinnamon, a dash. Ooh, that's a lot. But that's okay because who doesn't love cinnamon? Especially in a baked item. You know what? This is not mixing really well with the spatula. I'm going to use a fork. I didn't want to dirty another utensil. got myself a fork. I'm going to mush this all together. You want to make sure that butter is combined with the cereal. You don't want any dry, flaky cereal because you don't want your pie crust to fall apart later. So, make sure this is all combined. That. So now, funny story. I've made this crust before, but I didn't have a pie pan, so I used one of those cheesecake pans that has like the big latch on the side, and it like the sides come off the pan and you're left with like the metal sheet at the bottom. So I made it in there, and I guess my mother-in-law saw the video and realized, actually she didn't realize, I said I'm using this pan because I don't have a pie pan. In the video I said that so people wouldn't send me comments like, what kind of pie are you making in a springform pan or whatever they're called. And next thing I know, my husband comes home and he has 4 glass pie dishes that my mother-in-law sent, because I guess she saw the video and she sent me 4 pie dishes. So anyway, this is the first time I'm actually making it in a pie dish. This is my favorite because it's brown, has like a tint to it. I don't know why, but I love that. I feel like it's more like old-fashioned or vintage when it has like a color to it. Yeah, so that's how I got pie pans. So anyway, this is well combined. So now I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to put this in the pie dish. And I'm just going to press it against the sides to make my crust, my pie crust. You want to get it nice and even. And how perfect is this? If you're in a pinch, even if you're not just trying to use up some leftover cereal that you don't like, that was going to get tossed. But if you're in a pinch and you want to make a pie, or you have some fruit filling that you want to use, but you don't have a pie crust and you don't feel like running to the store to get a pie crust, then just use some cereal. So now this looks pretty good. And now I'm going to bake it at 350 for 10 minutes, just to make it a little more solid so it doesn't fall apart on you later. All right. Oh my goodness. This smells so good. It smells like a baked oatmeal cookie or something. Anyway, I'm going to put this right here, actually away from here. I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to let that cool down completely. Guys, the pie crust is completely cooled. It's been cooling for an hour, and it's completely cold to the touch. So now I'm going to make the instant pudding. No, not the instant. The cook and serve. Okay, guys. So the pudding mixture has been cooling for 5 minutes, like it said on the package. And then it said to give it a stir. All right. So I'm going to pour this in my cooled pie crust. This smells so vanilla delicious. All right. And now it says for a creamier pudding to cover it with plastic wrap as it cools. So I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap, like it says, because who doesn't want a creamier pudding? And I made this with skim milk, so maybe that'll make it less creamy. So if this will make it creamier. All right, so I'm going to put this in the fridge. It has to cool for 3 hours. So this is going to chill in the fridge all day while we're at work. And then tonight, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to put this fruit compote that I made the other day on top, and we're going to have dessert. So we'll see how it tastes. It's after work. We just had dinner, and the pie set up beautifully. So it's nice and firm. And the crust is perfect. So I cut a slice, and voila, dinner is served. So we have a vanilla pudding pie with cereal crust that I made homemade. We have cherry blueberry compote that I made the other day. You can check out my other video how I made that. And some fresh whipped cream right on top. And voila, dessert is served. I warmed up the compote, so the whipped cream is kind of sliding off and melting, but that's okay because it's still going to taste delicious. Thanks for watching.